Hello, YouTubers. And Judge Napolitano, if someone could help me reach Judge Napolitano, he's not hearing me, or he missed the first part. In other words, I'm going to speak about predicate acts. See, there are people who speak about acts who have collusion with predicate acts with facts. The F.B.I., there's a guy here, I don't know him. He's involved with recorded. We're going to use the hyper evidential. This is what I want to show Judge Napolitano. For example, you guys can discern the hyper evidential when you look at American history, and they're lying about what we look at, what we all believe. We look at American history and we see a hyper evidential to speak about that which we know all sides of criminal and civil cases, criminal enterprises, the people enforcing colonization, the thing that forced that, a method. Sickly distinctly, it was entrenched northern colonies and southern colonies and stayed states that way because our founders didn't have free speech yet, because everyone's speech was measured and maintained by the breaching method. And see, we're learning things tactically ulterior and wrong, and we're leaving out exception nature, how it properly discerned. So World Trade Center predicate acts with name and roles, uses of names without them realizing also to an extent all sides of criminal and civil cases, including the court, Ninth Circuit Court next to the World Trade Center towers in the World Trade Center attack context. Because the link I put in the description has the F.B.I., has an F.B.I. guy speaking about their sources and methods and their roles with other countries with social media and how they look for things and how they put undercover. See, the reason they're speaking like that is because they know they've been following what I typed on social media. That's why they're trying to take away my social media. They have Facebook people also committing predicate acts. And the difference between that or the courts involved, New Britain Superior Court, Hartford's court, and the district court have roles with predicate acts before the World Trade Center at West Hartford locations. And they requested, and they made requests to help from me. And they forced, tricked, hurt, and persuaded to, knowingly to an extent is plausible, more than plausible, the family members of a Dean Judd. For example, before the World Trade Center attack, I did not respond. He does not know me. All exceptions in exception nature that appear to be in demonstration of others demonstrate the same thing. Central Connecticut State University had roles with a whole bunch of different countries since before everyone was born. Criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions wrought, roles with that use of differences. Like this, but I'm from this country, I'm from this country. Not one country has representation. That's why and how they have these themes. They have I don't even know. I didn't even see about the boxing but in other words, they're measuring and maintaining. They're framing the sustained conversations about transsexual and sexual things with the kids to measure and maintain, left out all the predicate acts. They have replaced what our founders told us to communicate. James Madison's plan was that which was being used by our founders. We were supposed to be honest about the extortion of George Washington, also because we're supposed to understand the breaching method that had free speech forced by everyone, but no one would speak about it relative to the breaching method. They would blame other things, others, ourselves, wherein how criminal insidiousness natures of positives like free speech were the only nature of positive being capable. Otherwise, that body would be discerned, even if that body was a majority of people, even if it was everybody. This has been since semi-ancient times. The sciences are abridged. They have criminally foreign influence readings of the statutes, even of religious books. That's why the beginning of the Old Testament, as a part said, this is the only part to defend. Right here, where the names of the people, the sciences will come together. See, the Old Testament and the Quran were written with consciousness, the difference between the people that would defend the religions and the people countering them and the exceptions. They would be using their differences. criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions wrought. So this is just a beginning of it. In other words, they're pretending together. That's why they one of the ways they get away with doing this, they are being used remotely by showing needs to hide live progressions. So they stack fake audio and video transcripts and changed audio and video transcripts. People are sending their kids to campuses that are filmed 24/7, and that makes them feel. The reason that never helped is because they're putting fake audio and video transcripts. This preaching method showed them since they were kids. This preaching method perfected uses of self-value, of natures and styles of logic in nature, like, for example, regarding what caused the Declaration of Independence, what caused the Constitutional Convention. In other words, how was slavery still entrenched? How is it still? How has it been so overtly / insidiously by a breaching method employed sickly distinctly against everyone, and sickly non-distinctly, but everyone leaves it out? Forces pretends other too. That's one of the reasons they need prejudice. Clear as day. People who have passions and emotions behind countering prejudice. It's being used to screen roles with uses of difference / s. These are predicate acts with facts methods and natures that are also collusions with prisons and on off Connecticut state corrections offices and on off the state judicial branch offices. So they have rules about how they've been trying to stop plots right before they come. That's why, in other words, these people have been planting evidences, roles. These are interagencies too, not just F.B.I. associated, recorded, involved with in their defending capacities, coming more too, with co-defendants and lawyers of former director of the F.B.I., Robert Luskin. And he was warned not by another judge not to show up to that case if it ever came about. And it didn't in 2006. Right before it is, I didn't know the guy's name yet. Thaddeus Grabowski is one of the ones on Fox Connecticut News involved with predicate acts against me as one of the co-defendants of former director of the F.B.I., Robert Luskin. Also, a whole bunch of people tied to mayors and their neighbors have been planting evidences. See, they use words like extremism, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions wrought. And they have wire crime acts and methods, digital crimes. There's a principal upskirt nature that these F.B.I. are also involved with, and his LLC. Hey, get them on paper, one name in sequence. Wethersfield police have been switching names and forging names with them. Joshua Julian is one of the ones who writing forensics since I was a kid, increasingly involved with news at the same time. And in the World Trade Center attack, it was proven too that post-dated legal papers from inside the Ninth Circuit Court use their identity remotely too. Same ones that force Saudis to collusion. Same ones here. Here. Hello, how you doing? I'm listening, brother. Thank you for your thanks, buddy. Boxing. You're a boxing channel. Boxing is to teach us things, to show us soul / s. So this is going to be serious things, but George Napolitano has this hid from him because there's all kinds of digital corruption. They have to hide their, all sides in criminal and civil case. This is the positive though, because there are collusions that names A through Z have as countries that would not have B unless names A through Z had been forced to come through abridged campuses, which has relativity to how and why no one will allow the value of the nature of the law and of our why and how we're supposed to get a constitution unabridged, and we have rights that are too numerous to list. See, we have too many foreign and domestic tactically delusions wrought. Wow. Criminally foreign influence, fact-shooting nature styles. So we have to address. They have wire crime acts and methods. There are homes next to and names next to Trinity College and next to Central Connecticut State University who will court it, confess, demonstrated, confirmed. They have predicate acts with names that used to live on my street at next to campuses, including fire and medical. And they have roles with Canadian and with Mexican, Venezuelan police forms, and Cuban with psychiatry. All kinds of natures of stacking fake things and keeping the investigators use remotely criminally foreign influence. Differences, racketeering. No, they've been on all sides of criminal and civil cases, including the one in the World Trade Center attack and the news and the court itself, planting sequence at the same time, and with names next to the World Trade Center further. WFSB attached me to fake conversations with themselves and with others. And WTNH has been planting news stories fake as predicate acts roll sick with sick things, including more child abusers of the kids, leaders of kids, and between campuses that aren't even connected, because this is relative to where and how a quality of fact sheet in nature is kept criminally foreign influence as / hyper criminally foreign influence. This breaching method also needs names A through Z, blaming other things, others, ourselves for things it caused, for things it keeps, and for the existence of itself. A human fact sheet in nature breaching method is a scientific value. For example, that which has been replaced with the sciences because they are used, they are measured and maintained. Uses by that which used all location / S for what no one wanted collusions with, but had everyone tortured, extorted, enslaved, and made them just go about through its value nature systems, tactically ulterior from the one that is true always, not denying the slightest exception, because then it's not like a sequence shift, because then it's not natural and relative to questions, how reason works and how we actually think. Whole bunch of people from Harvard Hospital are recorded involved with collusions with all the sides, and they force studies with people that went to my kindergarten class, who are increasingly at every other campus I went to, stacking things tied to that fake. These people, these are people that have been used in location / S and shown needs how to hide their roles with predicate acts with facts and hold predicate acts with facts methods, and with use / S, not just at the cases, all sides of criminal and civil cases, lawyers and news at the same time, even next to the body dumping spots. Body dumping spots are increasingly, and names next to them are increasingly collusions and timed cover-ups right on social media, lying about their motivations too, screening the motivations. But like, for example, even of slavery, what are they teaching in the campuses? No other. In other words, we have rights. They shouldn't force kids to debate things like, and then with angry, angry sexually themed and encounters to them people as collusions too, which is also recorded, that part of what forced the principal child abuser, and Facebook's differential roles with the courts that were recorded at West Hartford locations, Connecticut's district court in New Haven, the court families of New Britain Superior Court and of Hartford courts. They were planting evidences in West Hartford. And see, note this guy's uses of sensitive locations. In other words, the FBI, it's also the difference between their guilt and the other ones is also used. Like Wethersfield Police have been switching names with the names involved here. And they have your remote uses of Judge Napolitano's Facebook page while he was with while he was with Fox News and Sense. And they have the roles with the difference of that. They also influenced, the Facebook, where the Facebook is the victim. And the difference of that is also used. See, there's a quality of fact treatment nature that's used to cover up where they are shown. So the way the breaching method uses is formal identities of law and private ones. And A through Z speaking about, because you can't help but speak about the law because the sciences are shared. In other words, it shows them that in the past they need to hide roles with predicate acts with facts, method, S recorded. And they know, in other words, that's why they also have roles with identity theft, fraud, slanders against each person strictly distinctly, if they want an excuse. But switching names and forging names, because they already framed issues. They already use extremism as collusion. They already use words like radical. Remember how back in the 80s, that radical stunt was positive. It was used as a positive. Or radical, it used as a square root, symbol. In other words, people, please have Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC do what's right. Forget their sources. And no, I'm going to show you the hyper evidential. If they want to deny what I say, you watch what they say, watch what's actually recorded. Increasingly, since I was a kid, you'll see. In one context, they'll say, we had nothing to do with him. And then other contexts, they're pretending other. These are people who have been stacking fake things in databases and fake conversations, natures of conversations between kids to hide the roles with the police and courts, with foreign bodies, and with overt criminal enterprises and private ones originally instilled. Our founders told us not to communicate it to us demonstrably, not to communicate about the abridgments and the breaching methods employment of value nature systems that couldn't defend themselves and afford to be, let alone to protract. Short words with freedom of speech and convictions proper by how reason works and relative to these subjects, let alone how framed, even how framed. Incapable of in other words, they want, in other words, they need to pretend they believe in integrity of people. And the time of their uses of the word basement is also recorded consciously, criminally, foreign influence, and while simultaneously too tactically delusions wrought. But they can't afford, in other words, their roles with that. In other words, pretending their time is worth what it is. There's a certain type of victim predator that has state collusions also with the state corrections offices of Connecticut and the state judicial branch offices. And so, in other words, also they jump into people's, in other words, there's a whole bunch of people tied to former mayors have been planting evidences, identity theft, fraud, slanders, and with names of a whole bunch of people from Hartford Hospital have been used remotely there and other places, have been planting evidences on the sides of the kids' houses, all sides of the kids' houses rolls, per use of location /S relative to where and how the fact sheet nature quality. In other words, free speech has not spoken for suburbs that have been tactically denatured before our founders were born, let alone the cities. And we're going to do this now. Chant Romulus. In other words, prepare. We can animate Romulus science. Man up. Because the Republic is abridged. The Constitution is abridged. Get them onto names. So the Connecticut courts have been forging and switching names and planting evidences next to the campuses. Covington Street, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. They have people with Connecticut's district court involved with federal evidences, crime acts, and methods where they record fake things. They record people saying things in conversations after they already said other things. Oh, why don't you say anything? They have poisons involved. When they have people stacking, this is sickly distinctly in the suburbs, the same names involved next to the campuses in Hartford, involved with these predicate acts with facts at every campus, including fire and medical. Fire campuses, families run into high life progressions. They're not even realizing, to an extent too, with their doctors and all kinds of legal scams and things that are in the name of medicine and you know, healthcare that have nothing to do with that, because both political parties never had possession of their identities. They have all that cultural thing. Oh, but that's where the money, in other words, where they don't even have that the breaching methods involvements with that addressed yet. And part of how they don't have it addressed yet is part of how they offensively make confessions, like about this guy lying about his motivations for uses of and pretending other. This is recorded. We need like with the FBI. I was in the Ninth Circuit Court as one of the observers. They attached me and others. They attached to faked and changed conversations with others. They attached me to fake and change conversations with others and with themselves too. The news media. Criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. They also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed roles of wire crime acts and methods with names next to them. And they're leaking this. That's why they won't get on to, that's why we have, in other words, get them on paper. A whole bunch of people, in other words, a Joseph Dennis and which all along Route 175 from Weathersfield to Central Connecticut State University and all sides of that campus have people involved with the military too, criminally foreign influence at A through Z, as ones involved with the World Trade Center attack too, including with the family of a Kuwaiti general and the deans involved at different campuses, and further with principal child abusers and the kids of a principal when I was there. At the one I recorded Weathersfield campuses forcing confessed, recorded, proven child abusers I caught with worse and more names involved with it. If they want forgiveness, the only way they could have it is getting on paper, because the Interbrand switched names, forged names with them while they were planting the fake news. These are the same ones involved with the World Trade Center attack, the building itself, the spots next to it, names involved, and next to that. And their extended family members, or some of them involved with that, are ones that force Saudis to collusions with them. And the difference of that is used too, in ways all sides missed, because the Saudi attackers forced collusions too. But collusions with that coalition too. All groupings of humanity are used remotely by the breaching method. Ones that had names A through Z at locations, areas, and states, blaming other things, others, or selves for what the breaching method caused, and keeps blaming on other things, others, or selves through selves, or that self is, or that body is discerned. And it is adapted to, even if it is a majority of people, even if it is every single person of a country, even if it is any grouping of countries from this. Vaccines, species coach, I teach us things, but long. Forgiveness is also because they prevent forgiveness offensively to hide what would have ended these problems. It's recorded the FBI has roles with the school shootings, further with Sandy Hook, as the ones intercities, and did the difference of campuses, worlds. But so you have to follow mandated law here. Vaccines, I teach us things, but long. Watch.